Finally, after waiting 6 billion years for my copy of Mortal Kombat 1 to be delivered, I popped that sucker in and I'm ready to play some Mortal Kombat. And you son of a bitch!
3 days later.
So now, after waiting 2 hours for it to download, I have played a good chunk of Mortal Kombat 1. Playing through the story mode, invasions, and some of the towers for some characters. My impressions of the game have been pretty good so far. The combat is always great. I mean, that's no surprise in NetherRealm games or even in fighting games in general. It's more aligned to MK11 rather than X and 9, but still good nonetheless. But what really makes it is the cameo system. I think the cameo system is a nice addition to the franchise. It gives it a little bit of strategy with the characters you choose. It can be hard to get used to it at first when you play it for the first time, but after that you'll get used to it. And the base roster is probably the second best roster in all of NetherRealm's Mortal Kombat games. First being MK9, of course. You got characters that we haven't seen in a long time, like Havoc, Ashra, like characters we haven't seen in years since Armageddon, and they finally get to shine in this game. And while there are pros, there are also cons. Unfortunately, with Mortal Kombat 1, it is disappointing in a lot of areas. Starting off with the story mode, I really enjoyed the story mode in MK1. From chapters 1 to 12, I was really hooked. It told different takes on these characters, like Raiden being like the young monk who is the chosen one instead of Liu Kang. And Liu Kang, of course, taking on the mentor role. I enjoyed that stuff. And I really enjoyed what they did with Reptile and Ashra, like having them shine as well. And even Baraka. Like, I've been enjoying that aspect of the game. But unfortunately, after chapter 12, that's where it fell through with it. Because instead of going a different route with Mortal Kombat by, of course, being a full reboot, they decided, no, we can't do that. Because we don't know how. So instead, we got to put in a multiverse story. And this isn't the first time they've done a multiverse story. We're going all the way back to Injustice 1 again. And even MK11. Although MK11 is not a multiverse story technically. But it definitely has, of course, like the time stuff. And it's just getting boring. And also in a world where every other pop culture franchise is also doing a multiverse story, it's just getting boring. And even though it does have like a cool and very weird final chapter, it's still like for me, I'm just getting sick of multiverse stories. I'm just sick of, because it's just a lazy way to like, there's like no stakes. Basically, like if a character dies, it doesn't fucking matter. It's a fucking multiverse. And by the end of the game, it hints that they're going to continue with the multiverse stuff in the next Mortal Kombat game. I won't say what or who would be the next big bad of it, but I do like the idea of this character being the next big bad of Mortal Kombat. And speaking of the big bad, it's no surprise that it's going to be Shang Tsung. Well, technically, it's the Deadly Alliance again, but Shang Tsung is the main villain, and he is a fucking pre-order bonus. I'm not going to get into that, because I've already made a video on that, and I think it's even more stupid that they made him a pre-order bonus if he's, one, playable in the game, in the chapters, and also, he's the main villain. He should be an unlockable character instead of a pre-order bonus. If they were to do the pre-order bonus, could they at least have done it like, oh yeah, if you play through the story mode, you can unlock him. But if you pre-ordered the game, you can unlock him early, right away, without playing the story mode. So something like that. They've done this before. In MKX, Shinnok wasn't unlockable until you played through the story mode. Or they had another option to pay for him for $5. But you can unlock him through the story mode in-game. Same thing with Brainiac in Injustice 2. So why, of all characters, of all main villains, Shang Tsung being a pre-order bonus? If anything, if they were to do, I mean, I hate the whole pre-order bonus thing, but if they were to put in a pre-order bonus, put in someone that isn't part of the main story or the main villain of the story. Put in someone like, I don't know, Kentaro or Motaro. Like, come on, man. Put them in there. They need another shot. Or heck, even someone like obscure. Maybe someone obscure like, say, I don't know, Hydro of that one Lin Kuei water dude who is also a cyborg. Why not? Or maybe a new character that you can pre-order. I don't know. Something like that. And speaking of DLC, let's talk about Quan Chi and Ermac, who are in the story mode, and they have a playable moveset that's probably already ready, but instead, they decide, oh yeah, we're going to put them in a DLC. We're going to put them in the combat pack instead. Now, I've heard that apparently Quan Chi and Ermac were supposed to be base roster, but unfortunately, I don't know, something happened and they had to delay them. So, but if that's not the case, then it's probably a lazy way to make money. To put in like familiar characters that can sell, I guess. And my god, don't even get me started on Ermac's design. But anyway, story mode is meh. It's definitely better than MK11 story mode, that's for sure. I guess in a way it is better than MKX as well. But for me, it fell through once they started doing the multiverse stuff. And hopefully in the next Mortal Kombat game, hopefully they stick to just a standalone story. No multiverse BS and that. Just to have a good, self-contained Mortal Kombat story. And then there's Invasions mode. Invasions mode is technically an RPG-esque type game where you basically where you unlock a ton of stuff and while fighting through other characters and also through different obstacles, kind of like test your luck in some ways. There's also test your might in some areas. Like it basically replaced the Crypt and all these other modes that we enjoyed in Mortal Kombat. And unfortunately, when completing these levels, the rewards are kind of disappointing. I mean, all you get is like one mediocre skin. There'll be like one or two skins that are pretty good, but the rest are just like boring, generic looks. And after completing Invasions mode and story mode, there's really not that much to do in Mortal Kombat 1 aside from like online matches and of course the towers. But they could have added something like test your might as a single mode or test your luck as a single mode or test your sight, bring that back as well. But we don't have any of that. And it's just like at this point, until they, of course, when the combat pack comes out, right now there's really nothing much to do aside from just towers. And it's the same way it was in Mortal Kombat 11 Vanilla. Like, compared to MK9 and MKX, their content is lacking. They could have added something like Puzzle Combat. Like, I was addicted to Puzzle Combat back then. Why can't they bring that back? Chess Combat, even freaking Motor Combat. I mean, I guess, yeah, it does take long for them to do all that. But, I mean, I can wait a little longer just for them to add Motor Combat. I mean, come on. And that's another thing, though. Why did this game take longer compared to the others? Is it the cameo system? Or is it Invasions mode? Or both? I guess that could be the reason. But for them doing that, it basically, lowers the content, lowers even the customization. The customization is far worse compared to MK11's. I felt like they should have cut the customization thing entirely and just gave us skins. But even all that being said, I still enjoy Mortal Kombat 1. I am enjoying it so far still with online matches. But as someone who, like me, who enjoys the single player aspects of these games, it's very disappointing. And hopefully in the future, and this shouldn't be a thing. They should all be day one. Paying $70, or at this point for me, $120 for the premium, I want to get my money's worth on a lot of content. I want to spend hundreds and hundreds of hours playing these games. But them doing it like later, it's just a fucking lazy way to do it. I hope in the future they consider this. Yeah, it might take longer to make these games, but I'd rather they take longer to give us a great experience with awesome content than rather just ship out a $70 game with lack of it.